Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm your host, Angela Wilkinson. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Are you an Awakened Goddess Show insider? Each and every month, our members receive lots of fantastic perks, including behind-the-scenes conversations from the show, outrageously fun virtual happy hours, Angela Unscripted, where I shoot candid videos of me living the everyday goddess life, bonus meditations, powerful activations, and healing energy work with the guests, exclusive gifts and private readings, on-demand access to the show, plus an invite to join our private community. Visit our website today at theawakenedgoddess.com for more information. Now back to the show. Olin Morales has been an angel translator for more than 2 years, helping people connect with their guardian angels and receive their healing. His work is non-denominational, and he welcomes people of all faiths and no faith. He's worked with over 200 people locally in Los Angeles, across the U.S., as well as internationally in Europe, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Now let's welcome Olin to the show. Hi, I'm Angela Wilkinson, and welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show, where we co-create powerful, conscious conversations on the leading edge. Today I have Olin joining us to talk about guardian angels and how to connect with them. So welcome, Olin.
Hi, Angela's audience. Thank you so much for having me. It's a really honor and a pleasure, and I'm just so excited actually to talk to you today.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you too, because on the show we have not talked about guardian angels. So
Really?
I know. So I always love exploring a new topic. So let's dive in. First, I would love to know, how in the heck did you even get started in this work? How did you connect with angels? And I would love to hear like a little backstory.
Yeah, I'd love to share that, and I want to share my, just authentically share like everything, because I'm sure there's someone out there that can relate to my background. So I grew up Catholic, very Catholic. My mother, I went to catechism and to confirmation and like everything. So I know, the Bible back and forth, so that was my upbringing. And so I grew up with the concept of guardian angels, and then my mother would tell me to pray to my guardian angel. And there's a certain prayer for the guardian angel, and you pray it. And I remember growing up, like, it's sort of like the Santa Claus thing, where you're like, you want to believe, but I think authentically, I don't think I did. I just kind of was like, oh, this is what my mom says I'm supposed to do. And then around college, I went to Stanford, and during the college years, I just awakened to, sexuality, and I realized there was a lot of persecution of people of my, sexuality, and it was really hard. And now it's much better. It's not even that long ago, but things have changed rapidly in terms of mainstream acceptance. Back then, it was actually a lot harder for the young people in your audience. Maybe this is new to them, but because back then it was like you had this Will and Grace was like the only gay show, and that was a huge deal, and like really. And I just remember growing up in high school, people were not out. And anyways, so it was a moment where I really lost faith at the moment, because I thought, well, God doesn't love me. I don't love God. Like it was a very kind of rebellious kind of moment. And so for a while there, I was atheist, and so a lot of my friends who now know that I do this work, they're like, oh my God, like it was a big shift, and so for many years I was atheist. I was very skeptical, didn't believe in any of these kind of things, these things. And after college, post-college, it was around the time, 2008, which was the whole economic crisis, and there was just a lot of stuff going on. And I'm sure at the time there's a lot of stuff going energetically, but at the time I was not aware of that kind of thing. For me, it was all personal. So I went through just a lot of crises, one after the other,
Hmm.
that just led me to kind of just be like, what's going on? And so I went into spirituality where I just went within. I didn't seek out outside counsel. I just meditated, and I would read books about meditation, and I read all the different kinds of spiritual teachings like the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao Te Ching, all the different kinds of teachings, and I just found a lot of them were so similar, and they each had something to contribute. And anyways, it just took many years of me working. I went to therapy. I did. I tried to exercise and eat right. Before then, I used to not be good at that. I just transformed the way I did things. I was more holistic in my
Hmm.
approach because so much had gone wrong that I was like, okay, I gotta like fight this thing and do all these things to heal myself. And at the time, I didn't know this, but that is really when things start. And a lot of people nowadays that do, I was talking to someone who she's part of this holistic center, and she's like, well, we don't really deal with speaking to spirit and that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, you will soon, because 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 that's the once you start peeling off those layers, the new meditation, all that
Yeah.
stuff, boom, you start to feel. Right now, I'm feeling the chills. But you start to feel things, and I don't see things necessarily. But anyways, at a certain point, basically, I did so much healing, right? So much stuff that I just started to feel things a lot stronger. I reach. I use the term enlightenment, but kind of loosely because I think people have baggage around that term. I don't mean it to mean that it was like this moment where I suddenly became like this amazing guru person. No, for me, it felt very much like I was just very much aware that we were all interconnected. I still feel that way, I just felt it. Whereas before it was like a theory in my head, and I thought, yeah, we're all connected. Yeah, it was a bit anticlimactic too because it happened in a kind of regular way. Where it was just like just a minor incident happened, and I just decided to go meditate, and suddenly like all this stuff kind of cleared, and I was just like, whoa. And the angels often tell me to share that story, even though it's a personal story that I wasn't planning on sharing because a lot of people are going to start having those things. Just maybe some people in your audience are going to have those kinds of experiences, and it's basically inevitable if you're on this healing journey. You're going to get there, and it's not the end; it's just a new beginning. And so once you're at that place, then you get the call. Right now, you have to go help others to get to that place because I've learned that in truth, the enlightenment really is only going to happen unless we all get there together, which is really
Hmm.
beautiful, but at the same time also challenging because you're like, wow, that's 7 billion people is a lot of people,
Yeah.
but, take it a day at a time. But at that moment, that is when I got my first calling to do healing with someone. I'd never done it before, and this was about 2.5 years ago. um, someone's angels came, so an angel came to me, and before then I just interpreted it as intuition, and I just was like, oh, God's speaking to me, right? But this was so clear and a unique energy. I could finally feel it because I'd reached that state. It was so clear to me, and each guardian angel has their own unique energy. I used to think that guardian angel is like, that just means your intuition, and I had a vague understanding. But for your audience, I want to share that that's my experience is that they're actually their own entities, like they're
Right.
like people, and they each are different,
Well, and
and
I'm glad you said that because that was a question I had was how do we differentiate a guardian angel or our guardian angel from our intuition or our higher self?
yeah, that's a good question. Let me complete the story a little bit,
Yeah.
and then I'll get into that. So just to answer your full question is a long answer, but I think it's helpful for your audience if they ever go through this experience to have something to relate to, right? So I got this call, right, and I had no idea because I'd never done this before. I never was looking to be this, completely left field, right? Like this is
Hmm.
not something I was ever planning to do, and especially since there's a period of time where I was atheist, where it's like that was like the last thing on my mind. And so I was just guided, and I was told, listen, you don't have to do anything. Just be a vessel. Just open,
Hmm.
relax. And at that time, what I had felt was my ego, my sense of self had dissolved. And so it was very easy for me to do that. So it just nowadays that's what happens. The guardian angel will just speak through me, and basically everything was on point that came through for the person, the client, and it was just inspiring. It was motivating. It was very healing. A lot of light bulbs went off for her, and it was just really powerful. And the both of us afterwards were like, "What just happened?" Because she was she's very open, but like this is something I never had done before. And so little by little, different angels would come, and at first I was just trying to kind of see what this was, and I would just tell people like, I don't know what's really going on here, but this seems to be positive, and people. And so at first I would even ask people afterwards, did this resonate with you? Was it real for you? After a while, I didn't have to ask that because every session would like end with them hugging me and saying I love you and crying in tears. So I was like, I guess this resonated with you. Like after a while, like I realized that was my own self doubt, and self skepticism about the experience. That was had to do with me wanting to prove itself to me, and then so at a certain point, I just let that go and I just trusted, and it just more and more. At first, it was like close friends and family, and then it just people would refer me to other people, and then I was talking to strangers from sometimes the other end of the planet, like other countries, through Skype, and so it's been like that for 2 years, like of like working with people, in person, online, and one thing I will say to kind of conclude that the answer to that question is that I've just met so many amazing people who are connected, who are awakening, who are very spiritual. And so for those people in your audience who feel sometimes, because I feel that too sometimes, you feel like alone and feel like, is this really happening? Because no one in the mainstream is talking about it. I can confirm for you, there are people all over the world, different backgrounds. They're experiencing this. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for connection. So basically, know that you're not alone. So that's the whole story. Really, there's more to it, right? But giving you the short version.
Yeah. Well, and I love how you talked about kind of cleaning up your lifestyle and what you were eating and how you were like I guess like you were clearing up your energy field. And I've noticed that when I do like a cleanse or a detox, I definitely become much more sensitive. And so if someone is watching or listening and they're like, well, how do I connect? That is like one way to just start tapping into that energy is to clean up especially what you're eating.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get into that in a little bit because I think
Yes.
that's important. The question is how to connect with your angel versus higher self or versus your inner guidance, right? What I wanted to say is that each individual, the way you interpret spirit is going to be unique for you. So I'm going to give you a guidance, but I don't want people to feel like it's some kind of hard and fast rule. You're just going to perceive it differently than I am because I'm an emotional person. Some people call it empath, clairsentient. It means I feel the energy of the guides. I don't see them. Some of you may see them, and in that case, it'll be clear to you it's a guardian angel because you'll be able to see them. In truth, by the way, we all has the ability to see them if we allow it. But a lot of us still have a lot of blocks and things that unconsciously that are there. So the guardian angel is a spirit that is with you from birth till death. They're the constant. You could look at them as the bouncer or your personal manager. Like they relegate what spirits come in and when. So we have other spirits and guides that come in different points in our lives, and there's also other guides who like ancestral guides, right? So there's different kinds of guides. I don't deal with any other guide except for the guardian angel, so I can only tell you about them. And what I can tell you about them is they know you really well. And the difference that I've noticed in our interactions with them and my clients is that they'll feel very at ease, very comfortable with them. It'll be just like talking to an old friend versus talking, some people channel, higher beings, right? And it's wonderful and it's beautiful, but there's not a sense of familiarity. It's like, oh, this is someone I don't know, but they seem like a nice spirit, right?
Yeah.
But I've never met them. I've never interacted with them, right? Whereas the guardian angel really feels like your sister you never had, the brother you never had. They know you. They know you more than you know yourself, and they're very because they are with us from birth till death. They're very you know they know a lot more about how to communicate in the earthly way that we can understand better. I've
Mhm.
noticed that other people who kind of higher beings, sometimes it's hard to connect with them because they're so high. It's like they're like, just do this and this, and then sometimes when I hear that, I'm like, but how does that make sense? Because I have bills to pay and I have to go do this or that. Like whereas I've noticed that the guardian angels talk, the way they talk is very practical, very grounded, and it's just kind of like no nonsense like stuff, that's like, oh, that makes sense, and people right away, they are like, oh, I know what to do now. My experience with the higher self, to contrast,
Mhm.
it feels very much like me, just like a pure aspect of me. So
Mm,
it's almost
okay.
like I'm going, if I was an ocean, right, like I, it's me going really deep, deep down to that ocean and connecting with a deeper aspect of me. Whereas the guardian angel is actually, it's hard to explain it, but it wouldn't be me. It would be like a different, like a lake. It's not my, ocean.
Right.
We're all water, right? All spirit, we're all connected, we're all water, but it would be a separate entity that would be unique, a unique signature, we can say, than the
Sure.
one that I have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So like you
feel
say, it's like your best friend. You know that your best friend is another person because they have different
yeah,
energy versus like whether your best friend is giving you advice or whether you are giving yourself advice. So yeah, I can see that the,
yeah,
the
yeah.
the fine difference there.
And the last thing I would say is that I always, and this is what the angels always, do too, is always recommend that you yourself, your audience, you yourself, go within and ask yourself that question and find the answer yourself. It's a very, the messages of the angels are always very self-empowering. It's all about you connecting to source directly. And I one of the things that's unique about me is that I don't do a follow-up reading with the person, because that's part of their message, is that you don't need me to connect with them, that you have that relationship, and my job is to heal and reawaken the connection.
Nice. So do we only have one or do we have multiple guardian angels?
Not a good question. uh, that is a good question. People always ask me all these questions, and so it's
Yeah.
good to have a platform to sift it out. So again, I say everyone has their own interpretation, and I believe that everyone's way of looking at it is valid. So I'm going to give you my way of looking at it, but I don't want people to say that that's the only way. Or I'm open to whatever. To me, I'm always interested in the way others perceive it. The way that I perceive it is actually, yes, you only have one. Now, um, that one could be dominant, masculine, or feminine, but they don't really have a gender.
Hmm.
Um, you do have other guides and other beings around you that guide you, but I'm using the word guardian angel to denote a certain signature of a spirit, right? And their specific task. So it doesn't mean that when I say you have one guardian angel, it doesn't mean that you lack other guides. You have other guides that do different things.
Hmm.
But when I use the term guardian angel, it's a specific signature that they have in a task, like a mission, right? Like you have a specific mission on Earth, I do, right? Each of us has a specific purpose or role that we serve for the greater whole, and that's what the guardian angel does. They have a specific role, a specific mission, and so that's why we refer to them as the guardian angel versus an archangel or an ancestral guide or something else, right?
Hmm.
And I really cannot speak to, although I believe there are other guides, I don't like to speak of things that I'm not an expert in, so I won't talk about the other guide. But the way that I perceive it is, yes, you do have one guardian angel, and they're fantastic. I can tell you, they're amazing. They love you so much. They're always with you. Every prayer, every thought, they're listening, guys. So
Hmm.
whenever you pray, whenever you ask for something, right away, look around you, try to tune in and see if they send you a message. I found that they almost always do, and if they don't, it's usually because it's timing. they're waiting for the right time to give you the message, right? But usually it's almost right away. I was driving the other day, and I saw this message, and it was like I was thinking of something and concerned about something, and I saw this, billboard. It was like God's timing is perfect or something, And sometimes it happens, whether you're driving, you see someone with a shirt on, right, or just someone texts you at the right time and they say something. So just pay attention every time you pray, every time you request it, because really it's the guardian angel who's the one responding to that prayer. Like I said, they're kind of the bouncer, so sometimes you might need a specific type of guide, and maybe you're destined to work with a specific type of spirit. They're the ones that'll bring that spirit to you and say, okay, here, work with this person. But see, that guide might come and go depending on when you're done, because that guide works for everyone, right? They may work for everyone or a large group of people. Whereas the guardian angel, they're just for you. It's like, they're kind of hooked to you,
And now for a quick break. Did you know that we have an Awakened Goddess Show community on Facebook? It's a great place to connect with the guests and to get bonus content from the show. Come on over and join us. And while you're there, make sure to like our page on Facebook. Want to stay in the loop and find out about upcoming episodes? Visit our website at theawakenedgoddess.com and subscribe to the show. Now let's get back to where we left off.
And so the rule that was struck between us and the guardian angel is that we came here to grow spiritually. And so we're open to hints and clues, but we didn't want we don't want the answers to the test to be just given to us, like there's no point to that, right? So that's where I think people don't understand it sometimes, where they sort of sit around and they're waiting. If you start to see a guardian angel sort of like Santa Claus, it's like, here's what I want, and then I don't get, I want a bike. Where's my bike, right? It doesn't work that way,
Right.
Sometimes you ask for a bike, and then someone gives you a book, and you're like, what's with the book? Like, what does that have to do with the bike that I want, right? And then you read the book, and then suddenly it gives you something that you didn't realize. Oh, this is what I was looking for. I thought I wanted a bike, but this is what I needed right in this moment. So sometimes it works that way. So when speaking about the role of the guides, that's kind of what their role is. They're to guide us, not to do it for us, not to be us. That's their specific role, to guide us. So your relationship with your guide has a lot to do with them giving you clues and hints and confirmation and validation and suggestions, recommendation. Here's what I see is the best move for you. But at a certain point, they can't really tell you you need to do this and can't do anything else. Remember, we live in a planet of free will, and so that's a big part of it too, of understanding the role of the guardian angel, is that you, everyone in your audience, me, we all have free will, so we get to choose whether we use them or not. There's a joke once that one angel said is like, there's some guardian angels who are just bench sitting guardian angels because they're not used, they're not utilized by their people, so they just sit around and like, all right, guess this guy's gonna like do whatever he wants to do. We really get to choose that experience, right? So we decide, oh no, there's a guardian angel, and they will respect that. That's how powerful we are as creators. Your show, called The Goddess, right? It really is. I mean, that's a beautiful the title of your show, because it really is. Each of us is a god and goddess, and so therefore, when you're trying to understand the role of the guardian angel, they respect you as that. That's how they see you. They see you as a powerful god or goddess who is creating their universe, and so they're not going to do it for you. They're going to respect you and bow down to you and be like, you know how to do this. You've done it before. You're powerful, right? So unlike the culture that we live in, that sees us as these sort of wretched, lowly humans, right? And sometimes there's a sense of, it gets too like, people get too dependent, right, on a teacher or a guide, and suddenly it's like, I can't do anything without you. Like, you tell me what to do. That's not the way the guardian angel works. They're not going to look at you like a lowly, wretched human. You're a goddess. You're a god. So therefore, I'm going to guide you the way I would guide a goddess or a god. Like, I'll give you counsel, but I'm not going to make the choice for you.
Yeah, it's not their job to do the work. It's that's why we're here. We have to
Yeah.
learn and go and make those decisions and learn how to use our guidance and follow that. And so, what is it that they can help us with?
They're sort of the people, and they like to work on the seven chakras, right? So,
Okay.
um, I like to review them briefly. So, again, this is my interpretation. I know there's a lot of information out there about chakras. Again, there's always this argument of this is what it means. No, this is what it means. I'm not like that. I'm more of like, this is my way of viewing it. And I would suggest people in meditation go in and see what do these chakras mean for you. This is my interpretation. So we all have seven chakras. These are energy centers. Now, the way that I like to call it, I don't call it the chi or Reiki as many call it. I like to call it the love because to me it is just unconditional love. It is the flow of unconditional love. It is what heals us, comes directly from God's source, and I believe God's source is this love stream. It is this unconditional love. And when we're stuck or we're blocked, it means that we're not allowing this love stream, this unconditional love to flow in us. And I've experienced it too, but I believe that it's always flowing into us. It's always wanting to heal us, but sometimes because we have free will, we choose to close it off or to choke it, as I like to say. So we either shut down, right? I don't want God's love, or we kind of partially, we close our heart only halfway, right, to it.
Hmm.
So we have some coming in, but not fully. And so it comes from the heavens directly down the center of our body. It starts with this chakra here. So you can imagine a circular sphere. And I call it the spirit chakra, but some people call it the crown. And this one has to do with your spirituality. The love stream then flows down to this chakra, which I'm called third eye. I call it the mind chakra. This has to do with your thoughts, beliefs, ideas about yourself, about life, about people. The love stream then moves down to the throat chakra. This is all about expression. Are you standing up for yourself? Are you speaking up for yourself? Are you expressing the divine goddess within, right? Also, boundaries. Are you
Hmm.
setting appropriate boundaries? A lot of people don't realize that people talk about the chakra about expression, but they don't talk about an important part of this, which is boundary setting, which is huge. A lot of people kind of express themselves, but they don't recognize that if they're not paying attention to other people crossing their boundaries, that's also kind of affecting their ability to express themselves. So the stream then goes into the heart chakra, which pretty much everyone feels this one, and they know this one exists. Because we've all felt a broken heart, or we all felt a longing or something in the heart. And this one is, I like to call it the balancing chakra because it's the center of the system,
Mm.
and it is where I call these the skybound chakras, the ones above, and the three below are earthbound. And the heart chakra, the reason why everyone says, follow your heart is because if your heart chakra is balanced, that means all of them are balanced, which is good. That means whatever you're going to do, 100%, every part of you is like in agreement. Let's go that way. But if even one of the chakras is out of balance, you're going to feel it in the heart. And so one of the things that people ought to recognize when they're working on the heart chakra is that sometimes the heart chakra, the problem with it is actually one of the other chakras,
Mm.
because it's signaling to you that one of your other chakras is balanced because it's the central one. It's there to tell you whether everything is balanced or not. The other one the other part of this that we're all familiar with is our feelings, right? So if we're not expressing our feelings, we're going to be blocked here. But we're here to feel what it is to be alive. So I know it's hard. It is for me sometimes. I'm sure it is for you to feel sadness, to feel guilt, shame, all these emotions that we just don't want to feel. We
Hmm.
have to feel it and allow it to move through us. If we repress it, that's where we kind of are saying no to life or saying no to this moment. We're refusing the love stream, and so that's where we get the block. And so, obviously, that's a huge problem for a lot of people. That's where
Yes.
these things like heart disease, heart attack, right? Because that's the origin of those physical things. Going down to the solar plexus, at 2 inches above the belly button, this is another one that a lot of people actually kind of know is real because we all feel the butterflies, or when we feel anxiety or unease, we feel it there, right above our belly button. And that's because this has to do a lot with, not just physical fitness, diet, rest, and relaxation for our bodies, our physical bodies, but it's also about being in your body.
Mm.
This is a big thing that the angels talk about that usually doesn't come up when I see it, when I look it online, is that a lot of us have a tendency to not really want to be here. An angel recently
Right.
called it, it's like it's the zombie apocalypse. Everyone's a zombie. They're on their cell phones. They're not really here, right? And so a lot of the times the angels have to help the person bring their spirit literally back in their body. So one affirmation they always give people is like, I allow my spirit to fully inhabit my body, right? And immediately they will start to feel emotions come up, things come up because they haven't been in the body. Because we don't want to be in the body because if we're in the body, we start feeling things and we don't want to feel things. So
Hmm.
we'd rather ask the spirit to leave the body until we start to feel nothing, right? And
Right.
we're kind of like floating ghosts. If you feel like you're just numb to everything and you're just like floating, that is not a good sign. It's actually if you're actually feeling pain or embarrassment or humiliation or these feelings because you're feeling things. If you start to feel like you're not feeling anything, that's not a good sign. You should be actually feeling what it is to be alive. That's healthy. The next one going down, and this is relates to your show because it's all about goddess energy and God energy, is what I call the sex chakra, but people call it the sacral chakra. By the way, this one above the belly button, I don't think I said the name of it. I call it the body chakra, but people call it the solar plexus chakra. So anyways, so the sex chakra, which is 2 inches above the genitals, this one, the obvious part of it is sexual intimacy. But the one that people don't, the parts of this that people don't talk about is tapping into one's power, one's personal power, the full power that is within you, and here the angels will work on you calling forth your inner goddess or God, balancing the masculine and the feminine. Another thing, this is where wealth and a sense of safety and comes from is this chakra. And so when you see, the world, what people fight over, right? It's all about sex, money, like power. They're we're all fighting over this chakra, and so that's why many of us have this one is very wounded.
Hmm.
It's so powerful. Everyone's trying to take control of that chakra. So what the angels try to work on with people is honoring this chakra with just standing in your full power. And at first, it's hard to understand what that means. It just really means be yourself. Stop being someone else. Allow yourself to be strong, to say what you want to say, to do what you want to do. That's challenging in the mainstream these days because
Hmm.
everyone says, oh, you got to be this or that for people to accept you, for you to make money, or for you to be successful. So really, it's about really taking up the space you came here to take up. The angels will say this, which is that if you don't take up the space you came here to take up, someone else will try to fill that void because
Hmm.
the universe is self-healing and self-correcting. And so don't think that, okay, well, if I don't take up this space, like, who cares? What's the big deal? Well, no, it's a big deal because you're sort of forfeiting that space to someone else and they're going to take it on. And you're going to feel like, wait, but I want to do that, but they're doing it. It's because you're not taking up the space. So
Hmm.
that's another way to understand. If you're in a space where you feel like I want to do this thing, but they're kind of like taking up the space, but I want to take up that space. If you're in that kind of situation, whether it's at work or in a family situation, that's you not being in your full power. I'll bet you anything. The moment you just decide to stand in your full power, that person will shift. The
Hmm.
person
Yes.
taking up the space that was yours, they're going to shift. They're going to bow down to you, and you're going to be able to take it. And then you'll realize, oh, the universe was just waiting for me to just fully stand in my power. So that's the sex chakra. And then the final one is at the root of the spine, which people call the root chakra. I call it the community chakra because it has to do with relationships. So friendships, family, our tribe, country, our nation, relationship with people in our nation, our fellow countrymen, our neighbors. And it's huge. The huge lesson here is all have to do with has to do with karma, right? And the way that I define karma is not negative. It's not about a punishment. It's positive. It's about the energy that's coming to you to help you realize what you came here to do and to help you be yourself, basically. And it moves through our interactions with people. We can't do it alone. None of us can do this alone, especially now with all the challenges going on. A lot of people are wondering, why is this going on? And one of the things recently just came to me, it makes sense. It's like, it's because literally we cannot do this alone. And we really do need each other. It's just, that's why it's so hard, because we're forced to work with one another, whether we like it or not, but hopefully we enjoy that. But, that's the whole lesson of the root chakra or the community chakra, is that none of us can do this alone. There has to be a flow of giving and receiving. So I give to you, and then I receive something for you. And for everyone out there, and it's probably the majority of your audience, are probably I'm going to guess, are probably a lot of givers.
Yes.
And
A lot of
like me,
spiritual
like you,
entrepreneurs.
yeah, a lot of people giving. And so your lesson, I'm not even talk about the people who need to give more, because I'm betting that's not who's watching this. So I'm betting the people watching this, because there are a lot of givers, healers, helpers. You really need to learn to step back and receive, and start allowing people to give back to you. And I speak from experience, that I've had to actively learn to receive. It's like, instead of actively giving, I've had to learn to actively receive, which is hard to explain, but it just means every day I'm intending to look around to see where the universe is trying to come to me to help me. Listen, pay attention, and expect that the universe is giving to you. And I've seen this happen where, spiritual teachers, healers, been doing it 20, 30 years, and I could see universe giving to them. They're saying, no, I know everything. I've done everything. I don't need this healing, or I don't need your help. That's what you want to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
You want to just be open. It's okay if you tune in and no, this isn't for me. That's okay. But if you're kind of automatic, no, no, thank you. That's when it's your ego. It's saying, no, I don't want this healing. I don't want your help, because I just want to give, right? You're stuck in the just giving, and it's not healthy. So especially for your audience today, this week, this year, have an active practice of just receiving. Sit down, be open. This is, by the way, define feminine. Like just doing everything without doing anything, just being and receiving, making magic happen with just pure intent. And let no struggle, no work, just let it happen, just like a mother who creates a baby, who creates life, right?
Mm-hmm.
How amazing. The angels always talk about that, like how they don't do anything. The divine feminine doesn't need to do anything to create life, which is the basis of everything. So why do we think that we must always be actively bum, 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 right? So anyways,
Yeah. Great.
so this is the whole system, right? And this is the framework that the angels work on with every person. Now the way they do it is different with every person, because every person connects with the system differently. But they always cover everything in their own way. And the reason why they do this is because that's the basis, right? So remember, I go back to my story where I began, and obviously now I realize I was guided, right? But it was holistic, right? Spirit, mind, body, everything, right? Community. I worked on all of me at once, that integrated, that healed me. And that was the beginning. Because once you clear the chakra system, which is the intention, you want to clear every chakra and open it, um, then you flow. Then you start to do things like be a healer, or start to channel things, or to recognize your supernatural abilities. But the reason why you're doing that is because now you're the force in this universe that's helping the collective wake up to the next phase of our evolution. I like to call it becoming Homo enlightened, as opposed to Homo sapien, right? So that's really what's going on there. So it's the basis, it's the beginning. There's even beyond the seven chakra system, there's still more, but I'm going to stop there. But that's a long answer to your question.
Yeah, I think the original question was, what can they help us with?
Yeah, and that's what they help us with. So for people who work with me, who decide to do a session with me, we're going to be working on those levels, and so just holistic, your thought processes, relationships with people, your health, all of it on the spiritual level, making sure that we're addressing all parts of you. And because usually in other disciplines, it's just one piece of you, right? One fifth of you is being given attention. Whereas when I work with angels, it's like all of you. And I had this experience with one client who was like, you know what? Like I've gone through therapy for years, and in this one session, I was able to realize so much because it was all put together. My spirituality, my psychology, my health, everything. By putting you all together that way, it really, I don't know, it heals you on a fundamental level, because in the end, we're all those parts of us, right? We are a spiritual being. We are an emotional being. We are a physical being. We are all these things. And so it's almost like a radical thing to treat you as the whole person you are. And so people come away with that sensation as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think this is a perfect time to take a quick break. And then when we come back, I would love for you to walk us through. I know you have an exercise you're going to share with us. So how does that sound?
Yes.
Are you an Awakened Goddess Show insider? Each and every month, our members receive lots of fantastic perks, including behind-the-scenes conversations from the show, outrageously fun virtual happy hours, Angela Unscripted, where I shoot candid videos of me living the everyday goddess life, bonus meditations, powerful activations, and healing energy work with the guests, exclusive gifts and private readings, on-demand access to the show, plus an invite to join our private community. Visit our website today at theawakenedgoddess.com for more information. Now back to the show.
The angels talk about the sisterhood being important. Women helping each other, women helping other women, and women, sort of even the image of holding hands, locking hands, and together, all you guys making this happen,
Mm-hmm.
and who's kind of instigating it or initiating it is Mother Earth, is Gaia. And so I have a lot of clients and friends, people who they feel this need to go to nature and to connect with it often, and to take people there and to do things that are respectful in nature. They're already feeling it. And so you may feel, if you're a woman, in the sex chakra area, a lot of stuff, earthquake stuff happening. And the angels want you to know that that is natural, and that just go with it and just seek to release all that, whatever there is blocking you, and understand that that's your inner goddess awakening. And yes, she's that powerful that she could kind of rock your life, But if you go with the flow, it's not going to be that difficult. If you completely resist, that's where things are going to get into kind of a crisis mode. But if you just go with the flow, just, and I'm going to guide you on an exercise that you guys can use right now. But if you do the exercise and you just allow the inner goddess to emerge, you're going to be okay. Another thing that might happen, it may not, but it might happen, is you may activate the Kundalini energy, which, as some of you have heard, is this coil at the base of the spine. It's this sexual energy. It's very powerful, and you might activate it, through this process. Just letting you know, it's wonderful. It feels really great, but it might kind of startle you because you might have thought, oh, maybe this isn't real, or But once you feel this thing, it's like you're like, whoa, because I've had my Kundalini activated. It's amazing. Understanding what it's doing is just clearing out the negative energy, and it's helping you stand in your own power. So let's lead this, and
All right.
actually,
Beautiful.
Crystal, there, you want to hold that?
Yeah, I've got it right here. My new selenite crystal. I went to a rock powwow and found this beauty there. So
So let's use the crystal, and you guys, the people, watching this, you don't have to have a crystal, but since
I will
Angela
be the
has one, we'll
surrogate.
use that.
I will hold it for everyone.
Yeah, so let's use that to ground us as we do this exercise. And so just everyone who's watching, just relax, get into a comfortable position. You can close your eyes if you wish. You're going to actually focus on the area that I just described, the sacral chakra, or I call it the sex chakra, 2 inches above the genitals. This is the powerhouse of not just sexual energy, but of divine supernatural power as well. And if you're someone, a woman, that right now is feeling a lot of earthquakes here, a lot of shifting happening, and it's really causing a lot of difficulty in your life, I want in this moment to just trust it and relax into it and just observe the shifting. Don't try to control it. Don't try to push it away or resist. Just observe it. And you can think it or you can say it out loud, the following mantra. I release all barriers. I release all resistance. I release all walls, all blocks to my divine feminine rising in this moment. I welcome and fully embrace my inner goddess. I allow her to show me who I am. I allow her to show me my divine gifts. I allow her to guide me, to protect me. I allow her to take up space within me. And for some of you, you'll start to feel the shift. Some of you won't feel anything because there's a lot blocking you. So just trust it. It may take several times of doing this exercise, maybe even months, years before you feel something. But some of you may be very sensitive and you'll feel shifting. So I want you to just observe it. And for still others of you are in a certain place where you might feel the Kundalini unraveling. So enjoy that. Enjoy it as it unravels and unspools and just starts to go up your spine. Like for example, for me, I can feel it doing that. So you might feel that. And for still others, there might be a whole different experience. So just honor every experience you're having. And we're just going to take just a few moments. I'm going to let you all in silence just for about 30 seconds. Allow whatever experience to come forward. And remember, just imagine you're just honoring the inner goddess coming forward. If she fully wants to come out, that's fine. Or if just a little bit of her comes out, that's okay too. Whatever is comfortable, whatever is right for each one of you in this moment. Let's just give you all a pause for about 30 seconds. Okay, so at this point, you can take your time and open your eyes, coming back into it. And it's an exercise in meditation you could do daily, you can do weekly. Beautiful meditation to do, by the way, in nature with Mother Earth. And she can help you a lot with that.
Awesome.
Did you feel anything, or?
I did. It was kind of it was like soft and gentle. And it reminded me of like a lotus flower opening. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So what I'll do is on the show page, I will I'll make sure to write the mantra down so y'all can
Great.
take a look at the show page at theawakenedgoddess.com, and then you will have that. Are there any messages that want to come through specifically for the audience?
Yes.
I had a feeling.
And right. Always trust your feeling. So
Yeah.
One of obviously my mission is to help people connect with the truth of the guardian angel, and to really develop that relationship. We've all had it, and some of us, some people will tell me, they're like, I believe it because there's this one night where I just felt a feeling that I shouldn't go out, and then I found out the other, later that week that someone died there and there was a shooting or something, and I avoided it. another friend of mine said, yeah, I was like driving and I suddenly fell asleep and I woke up in the right moment before I got into this accident, that I could have gone into, right? So I
Wow.
believe it, right? So they're always with us, and we always, all of us really, I really believe that we all know they're there, And so it's about us really intending to want to connect with them. And so the message that is coming through right now for your audience is know that you're not alone. You're never alone. And there's a lot of, hard things that are going on right now in the world, maybe even in your personal life. You're not alone. And let this be a message to let you know that in every single moment you can ask for guidance. Be open to it. It may not come in the way you expected. It may not be exactly what you wanted, but it will contain exactly what you need. They always will give you what you need. And recognize that it'll be coming signs and clues, and it won't be always obvious because remember, you're goddess. I'm a god, right? We came here to grow spiritually, so we didn't want them to just spell it out for us. So
Right.
remember that, but also know that everyone here on earth, what we came here to do was to go through this awakening of consciousness that's happening. Some people call it the new earth. There's all these, words that are people, the ascension, it doesn't matter what you call it,
Yeah.
it just really is about, it's really, the way I like to put it, very simple terms, it's about love. It's just being in a place where you finally love yourself for who you are. You're able to love others, and all of this, fighting and bickering and conflict between humans, like, just stops because we recognize that, you're my brother, you're my sister, and we're all one. And that's really the new earth or the new humanity that we're trying to make here.
Hmm.
And so as you go along, and say you maybe someone in your audience has reached a place where, okay, I've healed myself, I'm happy, I'm good, and you look around and you say, oh, but like my friend or my family member, they're not doing so good, and why? What do I do? And what's the matter? Remember that you are a light and you are a model. And so if you feel like, you know, no one's taking your advice or you can't help other people that you feel like, but I could help them if they just only listened, right? Release that, let that go, release any unhealthy obligation you feel to help someone who just isn't responding, who's not working with you. Just release that and go back within. There's always more work to do. Don't get into a pattern that just because you're a healer and you're a teacher that all the work's done, right? Come back into yourself, and there's always more work to do.
Hmm.
It's
Ain't that the
infinite.
truth?
Yeah, yeah, it's infinite. And so, that's the message that's coming through for those out there who maybe you guys are like, I worked on all my chakras, I'm doing great. What do I do next? Actually, if no one externally is responding to you, then go back in. You're next again. Like so, and then you just keep working on that level. And I guarantee you that usually what happens with me is like I get to a point where it's like, oh, I don't have any more clients, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I think I'm my next client.
Yeah.
So I go
Yeah.
in and I do more work, and then it's almost like timing perfect, and then I get a new client, and I'm like, okay, I needed time to work on myself, and the universe was just honoring that. So if you're that kind of person, don't get stuck on looking around. Who's the next person I got to heal? Don't get stuck in giving. Right? This is the message that's coming through for your audience, probably for good reason. Don't get always stuck in giving. Step back and say, I'm ready to receive. I stand in divine feminine energy, open, receptive. You know, being, not doing. No struggle, no work, just letting it come to me.
Yes.
That's the
Well,
message.
and I love that because I feel really inspired to suggest to people that are watching and listening, if you're a woman, to declare out loud that I am an awakened goddess, or if you're a man, I am an awakened god. And we're always growing, as you say. We're not going to be done until we're done, which is never.
Ever.
And so you are in your awakening process, and so declare it, own it. And when you are able to stand in that power, then it helps helps you on this journey, and it just like solidifies that. So yeah, I really felt like called to mention that or say that because yeah, I love where this conversation has gone today, and we're kind of like stirring the pot and bringing up all of this whole piece about receptivity is huge, and yeah, for me personally as well, it's getting out of the doing and knowing that we are all divine and we come from source, and we don't have to do or be anything specific to receive the goodness, or we already deserve. We are, yeah.
That's what makes a goddess. That's the power of the goddess, is that she does everything without doing anything. She just shows up, her fabulous self, and everything just comes to her. I mean, that's power. People, that's what the new paradigm is going to be, is that we've spent all these centuries in masculine. And, there's a power to that too, getting things done. But when you start to experience, because I've experienced it too, when I'll literally just sit down in meditation and do nothing. Just let it happen. And things happen. And you
Yes.
start feeling healings or whatever it is. It's like, oh my God. So goddess, Mother Earth, who is really the one instigating this for all you women out there. She's the one that's calling all you guys up to kind of, to arms, she's really the one, and she's going to help you a lot throughout this process, because she really wants, you know, she really wants humanity to survive. She's on our side, you know, uh, she just, she just needs us to listen.
Yes. Yes. Listen and claim our space. As you said, we need to not play small. We need to expand our energy. And the more we expand our own personal energy field, the more we can be of service and help other people just by simply being. So, oh, I love this
Yeah.
message today.
Thank you for standing in your own power and using this platform and affecting so many lives. Because you are your goddess self. These people, your audience is listening to this message. So you're living the message right here.
Well, I do try to practice what I preach. I do have my areas. Being completely transparent, I do have my areas where I still am, working on. But yeah, it's part of the journey. It's just, yeah, being human. So thank you, Olin, for joining me today. This was such a delightful conversation, unexpected, and I just really enjoyed it. So thank you.
You're very welcome, and I want to just give a thank you to all the angels and guides that help make this happen, and thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. I hope you enjoyed today's guest and got something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at theawakenedgoddess.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.